So hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Lakshay here. So today we're gonna start with the lead code question number 138, which is a medium level question. So it says copy list with random pointers. So what we have to do in this question, let's first read it down. A linked list of length n is given such that each node contains an additional random pointer which could point to any node in the list or null. Construct a deep copy of the list copy, and else you can read on your. So what this question basically saying, this question is saying that we have to create a deep copy of the list that we have given. So this is here a list which is given, and it consists of two pointers. One is next pointer and another is random pointer, like this. Like 7 next pointer is pointing to 13 and its random pointer is pointing to null, you can see here. Similarly 13 next is pointing to 11 and its random is pointing to here, zeroth index, that is 7. Similarly 11 is next is pointing to 10 and its random is pointing to fourth index. Then 10, its random is pointing to second, like this. So how can we create the deep copy of this list, which will also contain the same information like the next pointer and the random pointers? So we will solve this question in 3 steps. Okay, let me first write down the steps. The first step will be insert copy nodes in between. First of all, we will insert the copy nodes, means the nodes which we will be copying, we will first insert them in between the original list. Second, we will connect the random pointers. Then for the copy list, we will connect the random pointers. And the last step is connect the next pointer. We will connect the next pointer of this copy list. Okay, so with the help of these 3 steps, we will simply perform our deep copying. So let's start with the first step. First write down, we have written the example here below. Okay, it's same. 7 next pointer is pointing to 13 and its random is pointing to null. 13 next is pointing to 7 and its random is 13 next is pointing to 11 and its random is pointing to 7. Okay, so that's it. Let's start our question. So we know at starting our head will be pointing here. So what we will do to create copy nodes and insert in between all these nodes? So we will create a temp pointer like this, and it will be initially at null, and we will keep on traversing till we have reached null. Okay, so how we can do that? And at each position what we will do, we will create a copy node which will be a new node and which will be placed here, someone for example, and it will be same as the temps value. Okay, so what we will do, we will create a new value copy and it will contain the temps value, and then our copy, like this is our copy, next will point to our temp next, like this, and our temp next will now point to our copy. Okay, got it? And then our temp will move to next, means now our temp will move to here. Okay, great. Then again we will create a copy which will contain the temp value, and then our copy will point to temps next, and our temp next will point to copy. This will break down, and then our temp move to temp dot next here. Then again a copy, then again like this, it break down. Similarly here also and here also, like this. Okay, so this is how our linked list will look like after all these iterations. Now we have completed our first step. That means that we have to do was to insert copy nodes in between. So we have successfully inserted our copy nodes in between. Now what is the second step? Second step is connect random pointers. So how we can connect our random pointers? Let's see. Okay, so first of all, we should write this list once again, or else we can perform it at the here only, but I prefer a new list. This is 13, 11, 10, 1, and it's looking something like this: 13, 11, 10 1. It's something like this. Here is null. Okay, so now we have to do connect random pointers. So how we can do that? We know initially our head is here. Okay, so now we will create another pointer, that is temp, which we have already created, but we will place it again at the head. Okay, now what we will do, we will create that, we will again place that pointer, copy to our temp next, that will be here. And now what we'll do, we will check if our temps random is not equals to null, means our temp random is not equals to null, then what we will do, we will simply point our copies random to temp.random.next. Okay, so let's see, here we can see our temp random is null, because we know now here, see here, our 7th random is pointing to null here. That's why we will not perform anything here, and we will simply move our temp to temp.next.next, means here. Now we will check here if our temp random is at next. No, because we know that our temp random is pointing to here. So now what we will do, we will perform, as our copy is now here, what we will do, we will perform our copy dot next, copy dot random will point to, will point to our temp dot random, which is 7 dot next, which is 7, means copy part. So our this random will point to here, like this, understand? After that again our temp will move to next dot next. Now our temp is here, and we know that 11th copy random pointer is pointing to here at 1. So what we will do, our copy dot next will point to our temps random dot next. So our copy random will point to here, that is our temps random, which is here dot next, which is 1. Similarly we will make all the connections like this only. Our 10's pointers, 10 was pointing to where, we can see a 10 was pointing to 11. Similarly our 10 will point to our 11, like this. Then 1 is pointing to our 7. So okay, we will simply point our 1 to 7. Okay, great. Now we have also netted our random pointers. Now the last step is our to connect the next pointers. So how we can do that? That's also simple. Again, we will create a temp pointer here at the head. Cool. And then we'll create a dummy node at the starting. That will be -1 to start our new deep copy list. Okay. And here is our dummy, and we will create a pointer result pointer to it. Now till our temp reaches null, we will simply perform 3-4 operations. That is, first is results next will point to temps next. So we know the temp is this, and its next is pointing here, so the result next will point to here. Okay, cool. And then our temp next will point to temp next means here. Okay, so it will break down and it will now point to here. Okay, great. And then the temp will move to temp dot next, which means here. Okay, now our temp is here. Next we will also move our result, so our result is here. Then again our result next will point to our temp next, which is here. Okay, so this will be breakdown because now our next is pointing to here. And then our temp next will point to temp dot next, which is here, and it will be breakdown. Okay, cool. Then what we will do, our temp will now move to here, and our result now move to here. Then similarly our result will again point to our temp next. Then our this will be broken, and then our temp next will point to temp dot next. Then again it's broken and it points to here, like this. Similarly now temp is here, result is here, it will point here, it cancel out, it also breaks and it now points to here. Then similarly it points to here, and this points to here, and all these networks are broken down. At last what we have got, at last we have got our list like this. This is our original list, like this, and this is our copy list. like this. Okay, so we will simply, and we know that our dummy is here, so we will simply return our dummy next, which will be this. Hence we can see that our list is same. We have successfully created the deep copy of our list. So that's it. This is all for this. This is the main 3 steps that we must follow to create our deep copy, and we can successfully create our deep copy. So I will provide the code below, but you can simply follow this step and you can successfully create your code yourself also. But I can also tell you the code below. So here is your code, which I said it's same. First of all, we will create the copies of the list like this: a temp pointer at head, then a copy node which contains a temp value, and then copy node next will point to temp next, then temp next will point to copy, and then temp moves to temp dot next dot next. Okay, through this step we will perform our first option successfully, that is insert copy node. Then for the random pointers we perform these steps, which means first create a temp pointer at head, then create a copy at temps next, and then we will point our copies random to temp.random.next. Okay, and after that our temp will moves to temp.next.next. After all these operations, our random pointers now are successfully at their places. Now the last step is to create the next pointers. That is also simple. We'll create a temp pointer at head and a result at dummy, and then we will keep on pointing their pointers successfully like we wanted, and at last we will return dummy.next and we will get a successful list. So what's the time complexity? So the time complexity for this approach is big of n, and the space complexity is big of 1 because we are not using any external space. So why the time complexity is big of n? Because this loop is taking big of n, this loop is also taking big of n, and this loop is also taking big of n. So it's like this: big of n plus big of n plus big of n, which is equal to big of 3n, but as 3 is a constant so we neglect it, and our time complexity will become big of n. So that's it. That's why our time complexity is big of n, our space complexity is big of 1, because we are not using any external space. So that's for today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe our channel, and bye bye.